The latest growth figures for the UK economy will be released at 7 o'clock, and it comes after interest rates were raised to their highest level for 15 years yesterday afternoon. Now, Hannah's at a factory in Wirral for us this morning, and it's all about construction, one of the many elements that contribute to our economy which will be affected.
Yeah, morning to you, Naga. Construction, of course, a huge part of our economy. This down here is going to be the roof, the floor that's being insulated there by Chris and Kyle of somebody's home. From this factory here, they build 2 houses a week, and it takes them just about a day to install, actually, when they get it on site. If we come over here, this is going to be the roof of a building once it's put up. That will be the roof of somebody's home, and as you say, this is a massive part of our economy. We'll be getting what's called the GDP figures in just about an hour's time. GDP is gross domestic product. It measures the value of all the goods and services that we make and sell across the UK, and what we're looking for is growth, because growth means more money coming into the economy, more jobs, more employment. The opposite to that, a word we've heard a lot recently, is recession. So far, that would mean the economy is shrinking. It had been predicted to happen. So far, the UK economy has avoided recession. The backdrop, though, of course, to all of this is the rising cost of living, food prices going up a lot, people feeling very much worse off than they used to. And yesterday we had that decision from the Bank of England to put up interest rates to their highest level in nearly 15 years, which again will make many people feel worse off, even if the economy isn't technically in recession. I've been looking at, in general, how the economy in the UK is doing. Well, I'm joined now by Dave, who's the boss here. Morning to you. Morning. We've come over here. This is a wall of what will be somebody's house. Just talk us through how this works.
Great, yeah, so we build about 2 to 4 homes every single week out of this factory. The homes are all delivered panelised, so they're completely externally finished, windows and doors, built to a carbon zero standard, and then they take about a day and a half to install every single house, so it's a really quick, sort of efficient way of building homes. We're
talking this morning about the economy. How have you been affected by price rises, inflation, all the things that we hear from businesses quite often?
Well, we've had a bit of a perfect storm in construction because we've had rising costs, we've had shortages of materials, shortages of labour, but I think we've been pretty resilient and we've sort of learned to sort of trade our way through that. I think, you know, the challenge really is that we're at a new norm in costs, and it's taken a while for clients to get used to that. You know, almost everything that we knew in the past has changed. But I think, you know, it's really positive. We're getting some positive feedback from our clients. There's lots of positive energy. You know, clients want to get projects delivered and get them on site.
In some ways, it sounds as if the kind of doom and gloom that we've been hearing about the economy hasn't quite affected you or hit you. How confident are you that the business will be able to grow? That's what everyone wants to see, is more jobs, more employment. Is there a path to growth in the future for you?
Well, I think it's all about confidence. I think we've just got to keep confidence. I think sometimes the negativity can drive, you know, your actions every day, but I think we're staying positive about the business. Our clients are positive. You know, we're putting a lot of effort into recruitment and training to create new skill bases. But I think we've just got to keep sort of, you know, we've built a lot of resilience since sort of COVID, you know, as a nation. I think sometimes we've seen a lot of businesses start during COVID. So I think sometimes we've got to sort of keep positive and sort of listen to what our clients are telling us rather than what, you know, potentially the negativity is being driven.
Thank you very much for talking to us this morning. Thanks. And we'll be back in just under an hour's time now when we get that GDP figure that tells us about the state of the health of the economy across the whole country.
Hannah, thanks very much. 4 minutes past 7, some breaking news for you. Just in the last couple of minutes, it was released at bang on 7 o'clock. We've had the latest growth figures for the UK economy. Let's go to our business reporter, Hannah Miller, who can give us the details. Now, Hannah, this figure is very closely watched, isn't it? Because we want any sign, really, of hope of seeing growth.
Absolutely, yes. And the figure just released by the Office for National Statistics shows that the UK economy grew by 0.1% in the first 3 months of this year. So basically flat, but better than the economy shrinking. GDP, remember, is the value of all the goods and services that we make across the whole of the country. And we really want to see growth because growth means more jobs. It can also mean higher wages, something that, of course, many people really want to see in their take-home pay. And it's the government's target for the economy to be growing, because that would make us all feel better off. Just looking through these figures in the last couple of minutes, there'll be more details to come out, I'm sure, but construction sites like this factory in Birkenhead is doing relatively well, and there's also been growth in manufacturing. But household consumption, the kind of things that we all buy in our day-to-day lives, that is very flat. That won't be helped by the interest rates announcement that we heard from the Bank of England, with interest rates going up, which will make many people not feel as well off as they see their mortgage payments go up, for example. And that household spending is a huge part of our economy. These figures this morning are not as bad as once would have been predicted. Just 6 months or so ago, the Bank of England was forecasting that the UK would enter the longest recession on record. Yesterday, the Governor, Andrew Bailey, said there will now be modest but positive growth. So some signs that things perhaps aren't as bad as we maybe were predicting several months ago, but these are not spectacularly brilliant figures either.
Hannah, thanks very much for that. It is 6 minutes past 8. Now, in the last hour, we've had other news. We've had the latest figures on the state of the UK economy. Gross domestic product, GDP, showing that the UK saw weak growth in the first 3 months of the year and actually shrank during the month of March. Now, Hannah's been taking a look at the details. Morning, Hannah. And timely that you're at a construction factory as well, because growth is what everyone's looking out for and not seeing enough of, perhaps.
Yeah, morning, Naga. These figures are important because they really bring together everything: the impact of rising costs, rising wages, strikes, skills. They all have an impact on whether businesses like this can expand. And as you say, these figures released by the Office for National Statistics this morning show growth of 0.1% in the first 3 months of the year. That means we've basically had a whole year now of the economy where it has essentially flatlined. The concern as well, as you mentioned in these figures, is that in March, for the month there, that shows the economy shrinking very slightly by 0.3%. Why is growth important? Well, because it means better jobs, better pay. It's what helps us all to feel better off in our day-to-day lives. And the Chancellor reacted this morning saying that to get to the level of growth that the government wants to see, his answer is that we need to stay focused on competitive taxes, labour supply and productivity. Construction is doing comparatively well, but here they've been saying to me this morning that planning regulations are one of the issues that gets in the way of them expanding further. Kev's here now to talk us through exactly what they do. Morning to you. What's going on here then?
Hi, so we assemble our product rather than build it. So in here we've got a window with a subframe that we pre-fit prior to putting into the wall. Doing it this way means we save about an hour per wall of construction time. So essentially we increase our output weekly and yearly by doing these sub-assemblies.
How many houses are you making like this each week or so?
Well, our target is 4 per week, so that's what we're achieving at the minute.
Great, thank you very much for talking to us. Let's come over and talk to Phil, who is from the Federation of Small Businesses. Morning to you. What's your reaction to these GDP figures this morning?
Yeah, disappointing, but not surprising. I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? The government has been increasing or rather the Bank of England has been increasing the interest rates in order to tackle inflation. Really important, but has it really made that much of a difference? What it has done is made it more difficult for businesses to borrow in an affordable way, therefore invest in the business, and that's leading to GDP being suppressed.
What else are businesses telling you that they need in order to expand and grow?
Yeah, I think we're at a time where utility costs are increasing as a problem and are going to be one of the main issues going forward in the next 12 months, right at the time that the government's removing its support for firms on energy prices. So that's not a helpful move. As well, I think local authorities have their role to play. We're seeing in Liverpool City region, and I know it's true elsewhere in the country, that the money that that local authorities are getting for business support is a lot less, but they've got to do a lot more with it. The temptation is, and the tendency is then to just back the winners, support high growth businesses, not startups, not more moderately growth businesses that then go on, you know, maybe in 5 years' time to become major employers. So that needs to be addressed as well.
Thank you very much for talking to us this morning. You can see here the real tightrope that the economy is walking between wanting to get that growth while also wanting to bring down those rising costs that have been affecting not just businesses like this, but households up and down the country as well.